I've played countless hours of Minecraft as a kid, and I remember thinking, this game is way too easy. Without mods, there's no real challenge to it. And yes, I understand the concept of making your own challenges to make the game harder, but back then I didn't want that. I wanted the game to take me by the hand and show me why it's great. And here comes Vintage Story, a game that is similar to Minecraft on the surface, but nothing about it is the same. When I first loaded in, I had no clue what to do. I couldn't punch a tree, nor could I pick up more than a couple of things. It was the first time for a long time that I felt real excitement over a game. First, let's talk about Vintage Story. It all started in Minecraft. Developers were unsatisfied with game direction, so they dipped their toes in modding, and they created a mod called Vintage Craft. After a while, they realized that third-party modding API is very limited, and they created a new game engine, and it's now called Vintage Story. So, what is so different about Vintage Story in comparison to Minecraft? Well, a lot, but let's start at the beginning. You load up the world, and you are welcomed by a big text telling you about tutorials. You click the button, and they are not invasive. If you want to follow them, they are very useful, but you don't have to. It just tells you about general direction and how to progress. Let's compare that to Minecraft. Nothing. You're just left alone in almost infinite world. But to be fair, everyone knows how to play Minecraft and what to do in it, so at this point it doesn't really matter. Let's stay in Minecraft for a bit. First thing you do is punch a tree, make a wooden pickaxe, mine stone, make stone tools, get iron, then iron tools, diamonds, nether, and dragon. And you have everything. Now pretty much all you have to do is build a nice house, and you are on the stage of making your own challenges. Automatic farms, free houses, and better enchantments. You basically try to make your game easier so that you don't have to farm everything by hand. Ironically, you don't need anything because you already beat the game. What about Vintage Story? You load up and you have to pick up some stones and nap your own tools. And they are shit. You have no inventory space, so you make baskets. It gives you pretty much nothing, but you roll with it. You want progress? Well, you can't. You have no food. And all you can do is find it on the ground, as farming takes too much time at the beginning. Let's say you have food, so you won't starve to death. Then it comes time for clay forming. Once again, it takes a lot of time to fire it in the pits, but after a while, you get your bowls, cooking pots, and some vessels for storage. Another problem is arising, which is food spoilage. You can't really do a big stockpile because it will just spoil, so you make a pantry. You may think, now it's time for new tools and progression. Well, yes, but it's not that simple. You need clay forms for your tools, or you need anvil, which is very expensive at the beginning. Now, my favorite part, which is panning. Clear your schedule for today, as now you are bound to this pound for the next hour. Alternative is you run around the world looking for nuggets on the surface, which are not that common. Either way, you waste about an hour to get your first metal bits. Well, now we have our first metal, which is copper. Now what? You want to melt it, right? Well, you can't. You need charcoal, so you need a lot of wood, which you have to burn in charcoal pit. Okay, you finally have everything you need. Now you can make your first pickaxe to mine rocks. Yes, all that just to mine rocks. Let's compare it to Minecraft. In the first minute, you get a pickaxe and you start terraforming, building, mining. In Vintage Story, that's about an hour, if you are lucky. Okay, let's talk about some other aspects, like cooking, for example. Sure, you can just put meat above fire and eat it, but at some point you'll have to change up your diet to get more health, which you'll need it, trust me. Another thing is not necessarily a gameplay thing, but it's related. What I mean by that is the settings of the world. You have so much freedom of choosing what you want to be harder and what you want to be easier. You can manipulate the rarity of materials, or even if the caves will collapse under their own weight. Speaking of caves, they are not just some random open spaces underground with some shiny stuff slapped on the walls. They could be a complex system of underground network with pretty much none of the stuff you'll need. Prospecting is another thing that seems like a real thing people do. It's not just about going down to a certain level and digging in a straight line. To simplify, you calculate how much of a different ores are in the specific chunk. With that information, you can later calculate a precise location of said ore. Cool, right? There's so many other aspects where Vintage Story shines. Climate, weather, boats, or even automation. Okay, that's something debatable if it's better than Minecraft, but definitely more vibey. If we have to grade them in terms of progression, how it's structured, and how engaging it is, I would give Minecraft 2 out of 5. And about 4 out of 5 to Vintage Story. Why not 5 when I'm glazing it so much? Well, after first time it's actually quite annoying to do it all over again, whilst Minecraft is pretty smooth and fast, while also being quite satisfying. Okay, but what about story and lore? Let's look at Minecraft. There isn't any official lore in the game, other than Minecraft Legends, Story Mode, Minecraft Dungeons, and Minecraft Movie, but that's Hollywood, so that does not count and we do not talk about it. There are only hints, but most of it is up to the player to to interpret. Of course, there are a lot of threads on Reddit with different interpretation and some of them are really cool, but still, the game itself does not contain lore. It's up to the player to give meaning to everything. What about vintage story? There are 6 main categories for lore: letters, Jonas Folks, Tobias, research, resonance archives, and chronicles. And each of those can consist of several different stories, and each story usually has several parts. Overall, a lot. Only in the first location you can find 34 lore books. And sure, they are not full books. You can only read parts of them, but it's still a very cool addition to the game where you can follow journeys of people who most likely died ages ago. In our scoring bracket, I would have to rate Minecraft 1 out of 5, because there's just nothing. I don't know what more to say about it. For vintage story, I am in quite a pickle. I really like the whole story aspect and how you can find it in ruins, fan for it, or maybe even buy them, but it's not very engaging. And I understand that this is the whole point of sandbox games, that the story is in the background. So because of that, I would give 3.5 out of 5 to vintage story lore. Now, let's have a look at the community. Of course, Minecraft is around since 2009 in alpha, and it was fully released in 2011. Its fanbase is much bigger, and what comes with it, there's just so much more content being made of it. For example, r/Minecraft gets 1.8 million weekly entries with over 37,000 posts. Absolutely massive. In comparison, r/Vintage Story only gets 106,000 entries and 5.8 thousand posts weekly. Still, a very respectable numbers, but it just cannot compare to Minecraft. Okay, what about mods, for example? For Minecraft, there are millions of mods. Literally millions. You can pretty much find whatever you want in there. You want to be a furry? Sure, there are at least 1,000 mods doing that. You want Minecraft to be RPG with focus on leveling and fighting? Not a problem. Or maybe you want to go into space and make complicated machinery? Minecraft modders got you covered. In Vintage Story, modding community seems to have some kind of agreement where they don't make mods that don't fit the general vibe of the game. Sure, you'll find some weird ones, but most of them are fitting the fantasy setting. Another thing is that you can find mods on the official website, which is always reassuring. Something I love about mods in Vintage Story is that you don't need anything special to install them. They are literally one click away from working. All you have to do is click install on the official website and the Vintage Story client installs it. Something I noticed is that there aren't any mod packs on the website, and the community doesn't really like them. They prefer to install every mod by hand to really engage with every mechanic of the mods. For Minecraft community, I would have to give them, well, 5 out of 5, as I think mods are a crucial part of Minecraft right now, and whatever you feel like doing today, you can do with mods. The community is very big, and no matter what problem you have, someone probably had it years ago and asked about it on some forum. For a Vintage Story community, I'm going to give them 3.5 out of 5. Why? My biggest con for them in this rating is size. I know, Vintage Story is much younger and it's much harder, which is why it's harder to get people playing. But still, I think that mods are really cool and they mostly fit the vibe of the game. To just summarize it all, I think that both games are amazing. They are both great sandboxes. One is just much harder at its core than the other, and nonetheless, I enjoy both. I found Vintage Story a couple of months ago and I can safely say it is very rewarding to play. Minecraft is the game that childhood me was playing much more than any other game, so I still hold a lot of nostalgia towards it. Our total score for Minecraft is 8 out of 15, and for Vintage Story, it is 11 out of 15. Congratulations to Vintage Story fans, you win this time. Hey, quickly, before you go, let me know what you think about this type of video, or maybe what you want to see on this channel. I don't want to take too much of your time, so I'll just see you soon. Thank you very much for watching.